So hello everybody and thanks for joining us for this special live session. I'm Itzik Amiel and we are here with a weekly Switch interview series, Switch It On, when we talk to smart and talented people about how you can switch on your practice and even your life. And you're very invited. So if you're watching right now, we are live and you're very invited to join us right now to learn much more for this amazing session. Today we're actually going to talking about lessons in leadership, a unique perspective, or in other words, how to lead in a unique way in the legal world. Now, without a doubt, it will be a powerful episode, as I promised you before. But before we going in, those of you joining us right now, please put in the chat who you are, in the comments under the video as you see it, who you are, where you dialing from. You want to know, our guests want to know. And of course, if you are a member of American Bar Association International Law Section, say it also in the member. We want to know that you are with us, you're listening, because your leader is with us as a guest, as you know, and I would love you to be joining us for this very powerful session. So please put your name. Don't be embarrassed. By the way, as a person who teach personal branding, this is a great opportunity for you to stand out of the crowd. So put your name, where you're dialing from, where we know. As I said, I have the honor to have this live session with a top legal expert and a rabbi. Today, my special guest and friend is David Schwartz. But before I invite David to join us, let me give you some highlights about him. You know, we don't like to talk about in front of people. I don't want nobody to be embarrassed here. So I will tell all the highlights of David before I bring him in. So David Schwartz is of counsel at Vattel, Lipton, Rosen, and Katz, one of the most known firms in the United States. His practice focuses on competition law, particularly as it applies to M&A. David has co-authored several articles on competition law topics and regularly speaks in conferences and professional events. Rabbi Schwartz is active in the American Bar Association section of international law, and he currently serves as the new chair of the section, so be aware. He also acts as a senior advisor to the section International Antitrust Law Committee, the committee he chaired himself from 2010 to 2013. Davis was voted one of the top 40 competition partners worldwide under the age of 40. And by the way, I don't want to impress you or impress upon you because he sits in Hawaii. And in 2014, Super Lawyers magazine identified David as one of its super lawyers for antitrust in the New York area. Rabbi Schwartz received his bachelor's degree in both mathematics and economics, subject I love myself, from the Johns Hopkins University in 1991, where he was a member of Pi Beta Kappa, a JD. Also, he got from the Yale Law School in 95, and a master and MPhil degrees in economics from Yale University in 1995 and in 1996, respectively. So without further ado, I know I can talk hours about David. I invite David to join me. So welcome, David, and thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you so much, Itzik. It's wonderful to be here. It's wonderful to see you. I hope that you're well and your family's good too.
Thank you very much, David. And I can see already many people giving comments. So let me just share because I could see that Sylvia Lazzaretti, thank you, Sylvia, Linda Prebe. I hope I pronounced the name right. Thank you very much. ABL member is DC. Great, Linda. Awesome. Peter Bang, our friend from China, is here. Awesome. Very nice. That's the beautiful about LinkedIn Live, David. Everybody from all over the world right now with us. Diego Ramirez, also from Ecuador, also an ABA member. Awesome. And we have another anonymous, embarrassed person, criminal law committee from all over the world. Share your name. Don't be embarrassed. And Vadivav Parikh from NYU. William Black, also with us. Thank you, William. Carol Ben Bassat from Boulder. Herman Salmonson from Argentina. I will share all of you because you dare to share your name. I know there are many with us.
Only you see so many people that I know.
More than 120 people with us, but only few of them share the name. You see, that's the beauty about it. Mandelena Palashi, Mandelena, glad to be here, and from MSC and co-chair of the UN and International Organization Committee. Wow, David, you have so many cheerleaders.
Exactly.
Sylvia, again, awesome Sylvia from Italy. Gonzalo with us. Gonzalo Rodriguez Matos from also NYC, New York, and Sinek and Hogan Level. And there's another person who probably know me, but doesn't say the name. Itzik, good to see you again. Great to be in NYC. Great for all of you. Thanks, Marcus, again. Our
Marcus is wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you, Marcus, for being here. I know all of you there are busy, but I'm proud of you to come to listen to David. I promise you, many of you never heard what you're going to say today. And we have last one, Hunter Fox, great Hunter. Thank you very much from Canada. So there's more people to join. And please keep your comments up. We want to be active. We want to let David share with us things we don't know about him. That's the whole idea here, right, David? So
Awesome.
again, thank you, David, for joining us. But with your permission, let me set the stage for our conversation.
Please.
Because I assume many of our viewers, many people, except for being a professional, you might be a leader, right? Or a leader to be on your organization or your network, whatever. And think about it yourself, each of you, on one of you. And every day, each of us is focusing on helping business leader solve maybe critical problem, as well as maybe running your own practice or your career. And I'm sure that via your practice, and I hope I assume I'm right about all of you, you have been exposed to a diverse range of organization, functional group, and cultures around the world. And collectively, these experiences and people have contributed to the person and business leader you are today. I hope all of you agree about it, because that's how we shape our thinking, our behavior. Now, occasionally, peers and upcomers alike will share with you their perspective on leadership that can help you learn and really adopt your style of leadership. Now, because I'm always laughing, on all those people going for a weekend on leadership and boom, they get certificate and they think they're a leader. It takes time. It is all this exposure. And that's exactly what we want to do today. Today, these are one of these special opportunities that I assume some of you never had before. I want to share with you a few of the greatest leadership lessons my special guests have learned through his career. And I want you to pay attention, because it's different than everything you ever expected. And maybe in love, you don't even heard it before, and maybe not even after. And that's exactly the reason for this special session with David, especially except for the fact that he's a nice guy and the chair of the ABA-ILS. So to help you understand more how to lead in a different way and go after your big why, I'm sure you will see leadership from a total different perspective that really will inspire you today. So, David, I'm back to you. So, as I shared in my short intro to you, David, that you're not only a lawyer, but also a rabbi. And I'm not necessarily telling everybody all this credibility, but for you, it's very important. And because it's very, I'm going to say, unique combination. So the first question that comes to mind, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers are asking themselves, how did you end up in rabbinical school after being partner in such a distinguished law firm?
It's a great question, and I'm not surprised that you're asking, because it's one that I get asked all the time. But before I even get into that, I just want to note and emphasize a point that you made, and that is that, we each have to find our own approach to leadership. And one of the great things about being at Wachtell was that I got to see different lawyers practice the same area of the law in different ways, and to pick and choose from each of those areas, what was it that I really appreciated about it, and what felt most genuine to me. And I think that's a key element in leadership as well. So as your audience goes through this program and all of your series, you don't have to take everything from everybody, but take the pieces that make sense to you and that fit with your personality and who you are. And so that's my, initial comment. And so for me, when I started at Wachtell, I had to sit down with my wife and talk about what it meant for us as a family, because Wachtell's an intense place. It's a place where people work, literally thousands of hours every year in order to, get the job done, because that's priority number one, is getting whatever the job is, getting the job done, getting it done effectively and efficiently. And so when I started with the Wachtell, I realized that it didn't have to be something that I did forever. And so, we would on a regular basis chat about what it is that we, how we were doing, how, were the stresses too much for us, either as a family or as individuals. And, it was a wonderful practice, and I so enjoyed all of my years at Wachtell. And so, but we would continue to have the conversation. And about 10 years ago at this point, I began to say, I think we could do something, I could do something different. And my wife asked the all important question, what's the plan? And I'm like, well, what do you mean, what's the plan? I'm thinking I'm going to, step back and maybe I'll play some golf. I'll do some, take some classes, figure out exactly what it is that I want to do some of the exploration that, may not have had a chance to do when I was younger. And she's like, no, that's not a plan. And so she came, so she got me thinking and realizing, what, she's right. If you ever want to do something, and that includes, moving towards retirement, making a change in your life, you need to have a plan. You need to have some thought as to what it is that you're trying to achieve, what it is that you want to accomplish in making that change. And so I stepped back and said, what is it that I appreciate about my time at Wachtell and want to bring to a different community and bring to sort of my religious and spiritual life? And it occurred to me that, having an opportunity to go to rabbinical school and be a rabbi would actually fulfill an aspect of something that I would really love to do in my life, because it's true what they say, you only live once. And so that's where it came from. It was all about my wife saying, what's the plan? And realizing that she's right. You need to have a plan.
I love it. I mean, it's amazing that you're telling us. You remind me a lot of, one question I always ask lawyers that I meet, if that's the place you're going to stay to the rest of your life. And guess what, David? 99% of people said, no, absolutely not. So I said, so what are you doing? What are you waiting? Do the things that you wanted. What are you waiting?
Exactly.
And the second thing, what your wife said, I think is great, because I think what you said, it's not a plan. It is a plan, but maybe more selfish plan to play golf all day long, emptiness. I mean, you're in a time of legacy, and we always think, yeah, I did so much. The easiest thing is to stay home and, whatever you want to do, watch TV, watch movies, and go play golf. But what do you give back to the society, to the people? And I said, people, if you sit at home, I mean, for me, as you, I can sit at home, do nothing. I did as a lawyer. But if I think to people, the burden should be listening to you is not if you were a great lawyer, but if you don't go out there and stand out and do what you're great at. Some other people really need you now. We're not going to hear you. Not going to change the life. That's the burden you have to sleep every night with, being selfish human being, I will say, and you have to do that, because then you expose different thing, and you're born with gift, that you're born to shine with them, not to hide from people,
It's such a great point that, to be selfish is not where you're going to want to be, and not something that you're going to feel good about at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I want to thank everybody joining us again. Thanks for all of you, David and Alexia and Dea and Rajesh and Alson. And we see all of you there. Please, you can give a comment who you are, where you're dialing from. David wants to know. I would love to know. All of us would love to know the community. And again, if you have any question to David during the chat, put it also in the comment below, because I would love to address your question to David, except that we prepared to share with you today. So do that as well. Don't be embarrassed. There's no stupid question. And without, again, those of you joining right now, we are invited to learn more about lesson in leadership, a unique perspective, with David Schwartz, the chair of the ABA International Law Section. So David, okay, let's dive even more in. And I'm sure many professionals or lawyers who listen to us right now asking themselves the following question. Yeah, wow, David, that sounds fantastic. What an inspiring story, dedication. He is an example of a lawyer who knows what he wants, a lawyer who has a plan, a lawyer that pursues his passion. But, someone thinking, I don't know if I can do that. And I would love to know more from you, David. So, David, my question now based on that, because we want to convince everybody who could do what you did, maybe in their own way. You moved to rabbinical school, sound like really a major change. Everybody listening to you agree. So what are you still involved in the Bar Association? Well, sorry for being so direct.
No. It's the point is that it's a joke told. Certainly, it's true about my family. Maybe it's true about yours, Itzik, as well. But there are some people who leave without ever saying goodbye. I'm a person who maybe says goodbye without really leaving. And so I was already involved in the international law section. And as you can see by the wonderful number of people from the section that have participated in this program, it's a section that really cares about each other, and when you have the opportunity to find not just your personal family, the family that you have from birth, but really have people that care about you and that want to be there for you and that you want to be there for them. That's that's the switch that you talk about, right? I mean, when you have that opportunity to continue to be in relationship with somebody, that just can't end. It just can't end. You want it to continue. And so when I graduated, I had planned to sort of, begin the process of stepping back from the Bar Association, but we were in the middle of COVID, and I had hoped to work on issues of loneliness. And to me, loneliness is a crucial issue for all of society. And it's true for lawyers as well. Many lawyers feel that sense of loneliness when they're, and one of the things that the Bar Association can do, the ABA, other bar associations as well, and especially the International Law Section, is provide a sense of comradeship and camaraderie that allows people to really feel that they're not alone. And so it wasn't possible for me to do the work with lonely people in person because everybody was alone in person because we were in the middle of COVID. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and potentially become chair of the International Law Section. And, folks like Marcos Rios, who's on, shared, encouraged me, and it turns out that I got chosen, and here I am 3 years later, now chair of the International Law Section. So hard to believe how far we've come. I don't even remember anything before COVID, frankly. I had to think back to all the time before COVID because it seems like such a shock to the system. And then the last thing I'll note about it is that my wife said there's one limitation on my going to rabbinical school. And that is, she said, no pulpit, she didn't want me to be a rabbi of a synagogue. And so, with that limitation, I realized that actually serving as chair of the International Law Section is like a pulpit. Just don't tell her that it's really like a pulpit. And so, that's really what it is. There's an opportunity to be connected and to help other people feel a sense of value, of connection with others. Those are the roles that a rabbi plays. And so getting a chance to realize that was really something that I was so blessed to find in the International Law Section.
I love it. I think what you just shared with us, David, is so profound. I mean, those you knows me, I love networking, go to a lot of events. I must admit to all of you there right now that you want to feel this feeling David talked about, go to the next ABA International Law Section event, and this caring that David talked about. Caring is not, for a lot of you, is that fluffy word, you know what it is. But when you surround yourself by people really interested in you, you're a stranger coming around internationally, open up to you, ask questions, all about you, not about them, you're in the right place. And I'm telling you again, check it out. And David talked about something that's very unique. You see it now online, but you feel it even more bigger when you go offline, meet the people. I suggest all of you just try it. Go there. Don't try it. Will try. Go there. Go to the next event and you understand. But David, you are really touching the most important point. When a lot of people looking for and not finding it, is not looking for referral or business, is looking for belonging, looking for community, looking to be heard, and build relationship. And we all know that the purpose of building relationship is building relationship. It's not referral or whatever. All the single side effect of good building relationship. You get friends, you get referrals, you get business, you get anything you want, and sometimes even save your life, like in my case. So again, if you have questions for David, ask it in the chat, because I'm continue talking about lessons in leadership with David, a unique perspective. And David, I want to help our viewers think differently, thanks to you, on the development of leadership skills, and also get exposed to maybe a new sort of leadership you represent right now in front of us, dear David. So my next question to you is, how, and let me verbalize right, how has your rabbinical school education affected your leadership of the ABA International Law Section, and maybe vice versa?
Well, there are a number of ways that it's affected, and it's really remarkable that what a rabbi does more than anything, what any religious leader does, is listen and be there, and know when more expertise is necessary, and help people find meaning and purpose. So I want to talk about each of those four items. The first is that as an ABA leader, as a leader in any setting, you're going to have people come to you with problems. Now, sometimes the problem will be clear, but sometimes you have to listen a little bit extra to hear what the problem is really. There's a great story that's told about this rabbi, the Beis Halevi, Rabbi Yosef Dov Soloveitchik. He lived in the mid-19th century, and a family came to him. A man came to him knocking on the door on the night of Passover, and he asks the rabbi, "Listen, I don't have any wine. Am I allowed to use milk to drink instead? On the night of Passover, we have 4 cups of wine. I don't have the money for wine. Can I use milk?" And the rabbi, instead of giving him, the 3 kopecks to for the wine, he gives him 30. And his wife's like, "I don't understand. He doesn't have wine, so you just give him 3. Why'd you give him 30? And he said, "Yes, but you had to listen to the question closely. What did he ask? He asked whether I could use milk. That implies that he doesn't have any meat. He doesn't have any other food. He probably is, struggling in other ways." So being able to listen to what the real problem is, that's a skill that we really treasure and we work on during the years of rabbinical school. And so that's number one that I try to bring is, and the piece of that is that often people will, share and have an appointment with you and talk to you about all the different things that they're doing. Make sure to stay attentive to the very end, because often it's that last moment of the conversation, just as they're, "Oh, and I'm leaving the door. And by the way, you should know that this is the problem that I'm having." That last moment, that's going to be, the whole meeting is not going to be as important as how you react in that last moment, and be able to be ready to set up another meeting or whatever it needs to be done in order to address that problem. That's point number one.
By the way, David, the last thing you said called the doorknob effect. The doctors use a lot when you go to
yeah, absolutely. And the second thing is showing up. It's really remarkable what a difference just showing up. Often that's really what's necessary. A person can come to you with all of the problems in the world, but sometimes they're coming just to unburden themselves. And that unburdening of themselves is the solution that they need. They don't need you to come up with advice. They'll ask you if they want advice, but they don't need you to come. They need you to be a friend, be supportive, be able to hear them. And so being there for somebody in those situations and knowing whether or not to ask, whether or not the person wants advice or needs advice, they may need the advice, but they may not want the advice. And being a friend means knowing the difference between the two. And being a good rabbi means knowing the difference between the two. And you know what? Being a good lawyer means knowing the difference between the two. And so, don't jump. And showing up is just like taking a shot in hockey. And Wayne Gretzky famously said, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." And so, when you have the opportunity to show up for a networking event, show up. You don't know what's going to happen until you show up. If you have the opportunity to be there for a friend who's in need, show up. That's the most important thing that you can do. My rabbi is famous for, Rabbi Avi Weiss is famous for his ability to show up and be there for people. And that's, such an important lesson that you learn as a rabbi. And it's true whether you're a lawyer or whatever your profession. If you are a leader, you want to show up. And then, of course, know your limitations. We're not an expert in everything. And that's one of the great things about the international law section is we have a broad array of experts in our section. And if you're an expert in arbitration, we have somebody that you need an expert in arbitration. We have somebody that can help you there. You need an expert in antitrust law. We have somebody that can help you there. Whatever it is, just like it's true for in rabbinical school, where if somebody comes to a rabbi and they really need a therapist, because there are some things where rabbis often get treated as therapists, but they're not. They're not professional therapists. They're not professional psychologists. Sometimes people need a professional. And so that's certainly true in the law as well. And being able to recognize those moments, that's what turned good lawyers into great lawyers, is being able to recognize, hey, you actually need this expert in this situation. And I'm an expert in that situation. So when you have that situation, you come to me, but I can tell you already you need help in this area. And then, you know what, again, as you've highlighted, it's when you offer that kind of assistance to somebody, they're like, hey, this person is like so honest. They're not trying to go outside of their area of expertise. They're trustworthy. There's somebody that I will, when I do have that need, I'm going to go back to that person because that's the person I want on my team. And finally, the thing that we all are looking for most and foremost is for purpose and meaning. And so if we remember, those 4 points, the fact that, listen for the detail, for to identify the real problem, show up, because showing up is the most important thing you can do. Know when you're at your limits to bring in an expert, and then remember what people are really caring about, what people are really looking for. If you do those 4 things, then you really are taking the lessons of rabbinical and spiritual education, and you're bringing them into your leadership. And so those are the ways that I try to bring my rabbinical education into the leadership of the international law section.
Love your answer. I've definitely, you left me without words, because everybody probably writing right now all these points. But there's one thing I should share right now. I never shared it, but I should share it with you and the listener.
Please.
That for me, a rabbi was a symbolic thing. I remember asking some bosses I had in my career, asking them, "Don't be a boss, be a rabbi." And they look at me, "What do you mean?" And for me, a rabbi was I always remember a story. Maybe you correct me if I'm wrong. That was the person who wants the student to be bigger than a rabbi. A successful rabbi is a rabbi who wants the student to be even better than them. While you see a lot of bosses want you to shrink you to feel great, and they don't want you to grow. And I think that's symbolic way of thinking, not religious, but a symbolic way a lot of people don't understand. Rabbi is not more just religious function. The way of thinking is almost opposite when the leadership is opposite from the bosses or dictatura or controlling. Is that exactly all the things you shared show a totally different way of leadership that some people talk about servant leadership. I think it's much more than that. And I thank you for that, for opening our eyes for that.
It's like I want to teach the audience a Yiddish word. Those who know me already probably have already heard me use this word, but it's called nachas. I mean, you can. It's probably true in Hebrew as well. But the point is that there's something that every parent gets nachas when I spell it Nachas. That's how I'm spelling it. So nachas. Every parent gets nachas when they see their children playing together nicely. But the truth is that kind of feeling, if you open yourself up to it, is not just a feeling that a parent can get about the children, but it's a feeling that children can get about their parents, about siblings can get about one another. And any person who cares about somebody else can feel about somebody else. And so as a result, if you can develop the sense that you will get nachas, that feeling of pride and joy from seeing the people who work for you, that you are leading, do well, and ideally even do better than you and build on what you've built, that is the greatest feeling, and you will become a great leader, because that's what parents feel, that feeling, right? Parents are great leaders often because they feel that feeling of nachas. They feel that sense of pride and joy in the accomplishments of their children. And so the more that we can develop that sense of feeling that pride and joy, just as you highlighted, to be that rabbi as a leader, you'll be much more successful.
Great, David. And does you speak other languages? He spoke the word in Yiddish. In Hebrew is nachat, and it's not nachs, which is Arabic, which is absolutely not connected to nachat. So, okay. And David, by the way, I have beautiful cheerleaders here in the comments. We have Linda, who says that ABA International Law Section is the best. All are welcome. No need to be an attorney licensed US or even be an attorney. So join us. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you very much. And then we have also a team from Boston who says that the ILS community really helped me get through COVID too.
Yeah.
And exactly what you mentioned. So that's exactly the caring. But we have a question for you, if you allow me to push it right now, from
Please.
Mandelena. Mandelena asks, how do you balance your legal profession, your religious vocation, without undermining the importance of either?
That's a wonderful question, Mandalina. And I think fundamentally the first thing is that you need to have the sense of moral balance that you want in your life, and the um, uh, whether it's in the practice of law or doing the work in the bar association. I know what I'm trying to achieve. I know what I'm hoping to accomplish, and I have the same guardrails in all of those settings. A second element of it, I think, is recognizing how they feed one another. That recognizing that the work that I do in the bar association is, makes me a better person. We're going to talk a little bit about it. I hope by the end of this, about sort of what I'm hoping to achieve. I hope you'll ask me about what I'm hoping to achieve. And so, and so I'll touch a little bit on it right now in connection with this, is that when the ideal is when the who you are as a person and who you as a spiritual person is what you're working on in your professional life. And so here, in connection with the Bar Association, the fabulous things that the Bar Association does in terms of helping others, in terms of developing policy to make the world a better place, a world a safer place, to respond to terrible actions like what's going on in Ukraine, to be there for other people. All of those things are what the Bar Association is about, and therefore, enabling me to do more work in the Bar Association does help and makes me a more spiritual person. And so, I wish I had thought more about that earlier in my life, but the bottom line is that don't miss the opportunity to think about that. And you should make sure that you're, if it isn't accomplishing what it is that you want, if your work isn't accomplishing the things that you want in your personal life, then be flexible enough to make a change. Don't feel like you're locked in, because none of us are really locked in, thank God. In the society where we are, we have the opportunity to make choices, and that's a true blessing that I hope all of the people on this program who are watching have.
Thank you very much, David. I hope Mandelena and answer your question, but we're going to come back to it in a second. But again, those of you joining us, we're still live, so keep staying with us. I'm here with Rabbi David Schwartz, speaking on lessons in leadership, a unique perspective. And again, thank you very much for all of you for joining us in your busy time schedule. Now, if you're interested in learning more about David and his work, of course, you can connect with him on LinkedIn. And I will ask those of you who are not members of ABILS, maybe it's a good opportunity to ask you to go check it out, join the event, join the community. Imagine meeting amazing new people. What wrong can go with it? So check it out again. And if you want to make sure you never miss one of our weekly Switch On interview series, follow me on LinkedIn or go to the Switch Hub website. You can sign up, get our business development strategies and tips, and you'll be added to our email list where you get regular reminder about fantastic guests like David today. So let's continue about our insightful topic, David. And from your humble experience, for my humble experience first, for mentoring and training a lot of lawyers worldwide, I notice really many of them often do not have specific goals to achieve and measure their getting advanced in their career or in the practice. And I'm curious about your plans. You talked about it before. You talked about what your wife advised you. So my question is, what do you hope to achieve during your year as a chair of the ABA International Law Section Chair?
Well, I'm excited to share this, and that is, the Bar Association, more than I think almost any other organization. Well, the truth is that any organization that you want to be a part of should be in something that brings joy to your life. That's really what the key is, and should provide that source of purpose and meaning that we're all looking for. And one of the great things about the ABA International Law section is that we have lots of different ways that can happen within the section. The first and foremost is just being a part of the association will allow you to be connected to the great things that are being done by others in the Bar Association. Things like, we adopted a policy that the ABA approved this past February that has already been implemented to some degree by the UN in trying to identify the harms that have been perpetrated in Ukraine, and so that they can be measured and appropriate steps can be taken to hold Russia accountable. Those are, it's a good feeling to be connected to somebody who's doing things that are actually trying to make a difference in this world. But we can do more than just enable you to be connected to somebody who's doing a good thing. We can enable you to do the good thing. You can help others. You can, make things better for the world, whether that's developing policy for the section or teaching others or mentoring others. Itzik mentioned mentoring before. We have a fabulous new mentoring project that if you join, if you're a more seasoned lawyer, you can join the seasoned lawyer committee. If you're more less experienced lawyer, you can join our young lawyer committee and get matched up so that you have the opportunity to work with somebody that will mentor you and care about you and feel that sense of nachas when you are successful. And so, definitely you can to join, by the way, just go to americanbar.org and you'll see if you're not already a member, you can click join. And if you are a member, join the International Law section. The other great thing about, one of the great things about the International Law section, and I think one of the comments earlier that you shared highlighted, is that we're a very flat organization. And what I mean by that is if you raise your hand, you're going to get called on and you're going to get asked to do something. And that's a great feeling and will immediately enable you to put something on your resume, to feel good about yourself as somebody who's contributing. You can do anything that you want within the International Law section just by raising your hand. It's really quite remarkable. Over and over again, the chair of the International Law section is somebody who just raised their hand, 15 to 20 years ago. I got involved in the International Law section while planning the 2002 spring meeting of the conference. My mentor, Mike Biowitz, got me involved, who I really appreciate everything that he's done. And I followed his footsteps because, a few years later, he became chair of the section, and now here it is 20 years later, and I'm chair of the section. And so, it really is. If you raise your hand, you can do anything within the section. And then recognizing that when you raise your hand and you help others, you know what, as the switch has highlighted, right? You don't just help others, you actually help yourself, because, you'll learn the organizational skills, how to speak better, because in both of those cases, how to lead better, how to lead committees better, everything that you do, when you do it more, you get better at it. It's just like, building muscle, right? If you exercise more, you'll get stronger and you'll be able to do more and build stronger muscles. And so, that's another aspect. So whether it's the joy of connecting, of being part of something larger than yourself, the joy of helping others and making the world a better place, the joy of learning and improving yourself. And then finally, it's the ultimate joy, the joy that is touched on by, your book about the switch, about flipping the switch so that it's not about you, it's about them. It's the joy of human connection. The group, just as Tim highlighted the fact that, the International Law section helped him get through COVID. It's true for many people, not necessarily all, at that level, but at the level, like I said, I was, on some level ready to leave, but I couldn't say goodbye because the people that were there are people that I care about. And if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for a place where you'll feel good about the work that's being done generally, you'll feel good about having the opportunity to help others and do the work yourself and make the world a better place. And you'll feel good about becoming a better lawyer, better organized, better able to speak in public. And finally, have connections with others. If that's what you're looking for, well, the international law section is a great place. And that's my goal. It's already true. So I'm going to achieve my goal because I know that it's already true that the international law section is like that. But to really achieve my goal, it'll be to have everybody who's part of the international law section not only say that to themselves and recognize it, but to tell others. And to tell others in a way that builds and grows and constructs a community that so many people want to participate. So anyway, those are my thoughts as to what I'm hoping to achieve, and I'm hoping that many people in the audience will feel the same way and join me in enabling that to all come true.
Thank you very much for your authenticity, David. I mean, love you listening. This was not a selfie. This was really, truly from the heart of David. Really comments because he's the chair, because he's there for many years. Again, I recommend you go there. And by the way, do me a favor. If you go there and register, tell you heard David saying it, and you can because David told you about all those things. Because you want to match what David just told you, and you see it's all the reality in front of you. You heard from other members as well in the chat. I just see another comment here before I'm going to last remark from Peter Pang, who wrote a long comment, said, I am most interested in lawyers with integrity and spiritual calling. It makes collaboration so much meaningful and satisfying. Thumbs up to David and Itzik for spearheading this leadership program. US politics, anything but. Peter, thank you for your this, and thanks, Magdalena, for sharing with us the link for the IBA International Law Section LinkedIn page. So, last word for you, David. And I know Positive Psychology founder, I don't know if you know, Martin Seligman, will urge us to focus on building positive emotion, character strength, and establishing a sense of meaning in life. And I think you just talked about. As a self-leader, we can determine how we approach and respond to the situation. Also in our industries, leaders often focus on management, productivity, performance, and engagement. But if the pursuit of joy, that David shared with us, was also part of that focus. As a leader of others, we can make a difference through ways we encourage, build relationship based on mutual respect and trust. All things David shared with us, support meaningful contribution, and boost energy and attitude. Cultivating joy for yourself will inspire others to do the same. Joy is our essential nature, as you know, who we are in our best state of being. So cultivate and nurture joy and ask yourself if there is a joy in your leadership, as exactly as David shared with us today. And as you learned with this powerful session, all the beautiful things. I hope you wrote things down to yourself. When you're very welcome to watch the replay and all the golden nugget and diamond David shared with us. But to summarize the great session, let me share a quote that identify or definitely could inspire many of you. A quote by Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who said, whatever you choose to do, leave tracks. That means don't do it just for yourself. You will want to leave the world a little bit better for you having lived. And I think that's exactly where the motto of David. Thank you, everybody. Thank all of you to being here. It's time for you to take action to implement everything you learn, or at least what David said at the beginning, one thing you learned from David today. Just go put it in practice and see the beautiful thing you get in your life. We've been here with David Schwartz. He is a top legal expert and a rabbi and the current chair of the ABA International Law Section. And for now, I want to thank you, David. It's been fantastic having you here. And thanks for all the time and efforts and preparing and really sharing from the bottom of your heart your story and who you are. Thank you, David.
It's been totally an honor, and look forward to the next time that we have a chance to talk about how slight changes can make every meeting even a little better.
Awesome. And David, myself, want to thank each one of you for joining us. Thank you for your time. Again, remember, next episode is next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central European Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. But now it's your time to switch on and learn how to insert more joy in your leadership style. Thank you, David. Thank you, everybody. Bye for
Thanks,
now.
Itzik. Be well, everybody.